Imagine the sheer chaos of a scientific world, where over 50 million organic compounds all have completely random, uncoordinated names. Picture a laboratory in Tokyo trying to share a massive, groundbreaking discovery with a lab in London, but they're using totally different words for the exact same chemical. It'd be an absolute nightmare, right? Well, today, we're going to make sure you never find yourself in that kind of confusion. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are absolutely going to master the basics of naming organic compounds.
So how exactly do we name millions of compounds without losing our minds? To solve this massive communication problem, chemists all around the globe use a universal, highly structured naming system. It's essentially a chemical language. And once you grasp the vocabulary and the grammar, you can literally name almost anything. Today, we're going to crack that code together, step by step.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our exact roadmap for today. First, the need for IUPAC. Second, Step 1, carbon prefixes. Third, Step 2, bond suffixes. Fourth, functional groups. Fifth, avoiding common mistakes. And finally, some practice questions and a summary.
Section 1, the need for IUPAC. Let's look at why getting these names right actually matters so much.
Imagine turning to a colleague in the lab and saying, "Hey, please pass me that alcohol with 2 carbon atoms." It's clumsy, it totally leaves room for error, and honestly, it's just really inefficient. Now imagine the alternative, ethanol. And this brilliantly illustrates our point. One single, highly accurate scientific word completely replaces a clumsy description. That right there is the sheer power of a standardized naming system. That standardized system comes directly from IUPAC. That's the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. This is the official system providing the strict rules that ensure every single organic compound out there has one, and only one, correct scientific name. Now, while common, everyday names definitely exist out in the real world, your board exams demand that you know and can apply these specific IUPAC rules.
Section 2. Step 1. Carbon prefixes. The very first thing you always do is find and count that chain.
Let's walk through these prefixes together because they literally form the root of absolutely every compound's name you're going to encounter. 1 carbon atom gets the prefix meth. 2 carbons, that's eth. 3 gives us prop. 4 is bute. 5 is pent. And 6 is hex. I highly recommend memorizing this list from 1 to 6 right away. A kind of silly but super helpful way to remember the first 4 is the phrase monkeys eat peanut butter, meth, f, prop, but. After that, it's just basic geometry, right? Pent, hex. This right here is the absolute foundation of your naming puzzle. Section 3, Step 2, bond suffixes. Let's move on and see how this builds, going from counting our carbons to identifying the bonds between them. The type of bond dictates the very end of the name. If your carbon atoms are connected by only single bonds, you're going to use the suffix ane, spelled A-N-E. If there is even one double bond hiding in that chain, your suffix becomes ene, spelled E-N-E. And if you spot a triple bond, the suffix shifts to ine, spelled Y-N-E. Really focus on enunciating those differences in your head when you're taking your test. Ane, ene, ine. That single letter change tells a chemist exactly what kind of hydrocarbon they're dealing with.
Section 4, functional groups and examples. It is officially time to snap our prefixes and suffixes together and see this language in action.
Let's follow this formulaic process. Say we have a compound with just a single carbon atom. Step 1. 1 carbon means our prefix is meth. Step 2. It only has single bonds, so our suffix is ane. Step 3. Just push them together. Meth plus ane equals methane. It really is that straightforward. Now, what's really interesting here is the clear, unbreakable pattern that emerges no matter how many carbons or what type of bonds we have. 2 carbons and single bonds, F plus ane gives you ethane. 3 carbons and a double bond, prop plus ene gives you propene. 4 carbons and a triple bond, but plus yine makes butanine. Once you know the prefixes and the suffixes, you literally just lock them together like Lego building blocks.
Now, you might be wondering, okay, what happens if the molecule is a bit more complex? What if there's an oxygen atom attached? Well, functional groups like alcohols or acids simply modify the very ending of our basic name. For example, attaching an OH alcohol group makes ethane become ethanol. There are others too, like carboxylic acids that end in oic acid, aldehydes in al, and ketones in 1. But hey, do not stress about these just yet. We're focusing just on the ethanol example to kind of tease the concept for now. We are absolutely going to explore all the rules for functional groups deeply in a future explainer. Today we're just mastering the basic carbon chains and bonds. Section 5. Avoiding common naming mistakes. Okay, pivot your attention here, because this is absolutely crucial for not losing silly marks on your board exams.
So the crucial point here is to never ever count the hydrogen atoms when you're figuring out your prefix. You are only counting carbon atoms. Furthermore, students often just look at a compound and quickly pick the most obvious straight line of carbons, even if a longer chain actually bends around a corner. That is a trap, and it's wrong. You must always hunt for and trace the absolute longest continuous carbon chain, no matter how much it twists or turns on the paper.
Section 6. Practice questions and summary. Let's get active and test those new decoding skills with a rapid-fire quiz.
Question 1. A compound contains 2 carbon atoms and only single bonds. What is its IUPAC name? Take a second, apply the rules in your head. 2 carbons, single bonds. If you said ethane, you totally nailed it. Remember, F is the prefix for 2 carbons, and ane is the suffix for single bonds. Great job!
Next question. Let's test your memory of the bond rules. Which suffix is used for compounds that contain a double bond? Think back to the 3 options we had.
The correct answer is ene. Single is ane, double is ene, triple is eind. Keep that energy up, we've got one more. Final rapid-fire question to absolutely secure your knowledge of the common prefixes. What is the specific prefix used for a chain of exactly 5 carbon atoms? The answer is Pent. Meth, Eth, Prop, But, Pent. Fantastic work wrapping up this interactive portion. If you got those right, you are well on your way to mastering organic chemistry nomenclature for your exams. Let's use this final checklist as your mental study guide. When you sit down for that board exam, remember these 4 absolute foundational steps. Number 1, find and count the longest continuous carbon chain. Number 2, match that exact number to the correct prefix. Number 3, look closely at the bonds between the carbons to identify the type. And number 4, add the correct suffix to your prefix. If you stick to this process, you are going to accurately decode these scientific names every single time.
But before we go, I want to leave you with a fascinating little puzzle. What happens when 2 organic compounds have the exact same number of carbons and hydrogens, literally the exact same molecular formula, but they are built into completely different structures and they act like totally different chemicals? This mind-bending concept is called isomerism, and it is exactly what we're going to be decoding in our next explainer. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I absolutely cannot wait to see you next time.